Hello, Bob Burgess here. Welcome to the Burgi View. And I am currently going through a 30-day fast, is my intention. And I am on day 11. Just to let you know, I've survived day 11 so far. It's 11:30 at night or so, and I'm planning on going to bed as quickly as I can so I can escape the feelings of hunger that I have. I do have some hunger. It's not great. It's not huge. But there is this desire to eat. I mean, everywhere. Tonight I went to play trivia with my kids, a couple of my boys in a group there that gather at a Pluckers restaurant. You can sponsor me if you want to, Pluckers. But we went to a Pluckers restaurant, and I've loved the food there, and everything I looked at was something that I was really desiring to have. But it's because I wanted the taste, I wanted the sensation, and my body is desiring something to eat, obviously. But I did notice something new is developing today, or happened today, is that as I was sitting there, around the food, I started feeling just a slight tinge of nausea, which I don't understand where that's coming from. I don't have anything hardly on my stomach. But what I've learned this, is that when your body starts using up its fat, toxins are stored in the fat. So when it starts to use the fat for energy, it will release toxins into the bloodstream in order to be able to get rid of it as it uses that fat. So that can make you feel a little bit sick, kind of have flu symptoms and that type of thing. So it's part of the process. I have to learn, and I'm learning to just accept those negative feelings, what feels bad, and reframe them in my mind that they're positive feelings. They're things feelings that just represent that I'm advancing and getting better. I've lost almost 30 pounds, 28.8. And by the way, I probably lost a little bit more than that, because this morning I weighed, it was 295. That was the same thing as yesterday. But the reason I know is because before I weighed, it just escaped my mind away, and I came into the kitchen. I made some coffee and made my supplemental drink, that I'm using that has the green stuff in it. And I drank that, and then I realized, I weighed. So I had that on my stomach. So take that away from whatever that weighed from the 295, and that's what I should have weighed this morning. So tomorrow I'm going to try to make a point so I can see the progress. It's a little disappointing to not see progress, but see the progress. I'm at 295, which is 22.8. And one of the reasons that really upsets me is 295 is the line on my app here between what's designated as obese class 3 and obese class 2. 295 is obese class 3. 294.9 is obese class 2. Now, I never thought that I would be really targeting to be obese class 2, and I've been told, not to really pay that much attention. It doesn't mean that much in terms of what's really accurate and what's not. But, it is give me something to shoot at. So tomorrow morning when I weigh, I am definitely going to be under that. I've got to. I'm not going to drink anything or put anything in me. So that's a big deal for me. So I'm upset that I'm only obese class 3 right now, according to my records. So I'm going to be just moving on. I'm doing well, dealing with the nausea, dealing with the hunger, embracing the negative feelings as much as I can. And I was asked an interesting question tonight, is that if there's a spiritual component to my fasting. And the truth is that the main reason I'm doing this is physical. I wanted to take some weight off. I am too impatient to take weight off, like a half a pound a day or anything like that. It's just too frustrating. And half a pound a day would be me making choices about what to eat every single day. And making choices is my enemy, because I will fudge on those choices. So it's a lot easier for me, once again, to not make any choices. Just simply stick to not eating is easier to me than making choices. Plus, I get to see results. I get to see results every day. Now, whether that's a fool's gold and I'm going to put it all back on, I hope that doesn't happen. I think that I can certainly get down to a level where I can then start to make some good choices that would allow me to stay where I am. But we'll see. I'm trying to get there right now. But they asked if there's a spiritual component to it. And although it is a physical primarily, I think there needs to be and should be a spiritual component to it. And that is because there is a lot of saying no to self. There's a lot of what the Bible, talks about is dying to self. There's surrender involved, and all of that could be certainly lessons that teach us about how we need to face our spiritual world, which are saying no to the physical, say no to the temptations in this world, but saying yes to something bigger, something greater, and that is reliance and surrender on Christ. So there is a spiritual component, and I hope to be able to enhance that even more and more as I take the time that I would be eating and making that time where I can transform it into some study and prayer and communion with God. So now, what I want to tell you about real quickly is that, last night I spoke about reputation, having a good reputation, and what the Bible says about that. And the word that was used was a Greek word that had lots of different kinds of meanings. And so capturing all of those kinds of ideas, the idea of being gentle, not losing your emotions, being under control, that we should be known by that, Philippians 4 says, known by that kind of demeanor, that kind of behavior. Now, just because I said that that's what we ought to be, that is not who I've been over my past. Just to leave you just a little kind of story. One of the worst places in the world to see people not being that is playing softball. And you maybe looked at my thumb, whatever that's called, when you take a picture. This is a 1981 state softball tournament first place. It was back when I was in college at the BSU, Baptist Student Union, it's not even called that anymore, and we had a BSU state tournament, and we won state. So this is the only trophy that I've ever kept. So softball was a big deal to me, and when I got into church and I could make create a softball team, I did. Here in the little town I'm in, there was a softball league of all the different churches, and the competition in that kind of environment is so high. And if you want to go see in this case it was a bunch of Baptist churches primarily, if you want to see a bunch of Baptist sinners, go to a Baptist softball tournament. Words are said that you're not supposed to say, behavior, anger, just losing temper. It's all over the place because it's hyper competitive. And it's embarrassing. Let me tell you just one little quick story. Back years ago, I was playing softball on my First Baptist Church of Leonard, Texas team. And I put that team together. So I was kind of the leader. And I was hoping it would be a ministry to some of the guys that were playing on the team that really didn't come to church that often, but we were trying to reach out to them. So this is a ministry. Plus, they were pretty good softball players, and so I invited some good players to play with us. But this is going to be a ministry. The pastor was on the team, and he pretty quickly decided not to be because he couldn't, he was too competitive for him. But at one particular ball game, I'm pitching. Slow pitch, I'm pitching, and I think I'm a pretty good pitcher, do okay. And there was a play where a person left the base on a fly ball on the other team, left the base, in our opinion, too soon. In softball or baseball, fly ball, if a person's on base, they can't leave the base until that ball's caught. Well, they left too soon. That was at least what we observed. So what you do at that point is you appeal to the umpire from the mound, and you throw it to the base that they left, and there's a certain process for that. Now, I never really knew the process that well. I thought I did, and so I was on there, and I stepped off. I was on the rubber, stepped off the rubber, threw it to the base, and they called him safe. And I said, "What?" I got so upset. "Why did you call them safe? They obviously left too soon." And the umpire said, "Before you appeal, you've got to call timeout." I didn't call timeout. So it got me so mad because that wasn't even that important, I mean, what's right is that we got him. It made me so mad that I time out. That's what makes the difference in making the right call. So every time there was a play after that, and I'm ashamed of this, the ball would be thrown back into the pitcher, and I'd holler to the ump, "Time out!" every single play. The umpire got really, really tired of that. And he started giving me some lip about it, and I deserved it. And I was giving some lip back, and I was such a terrible, horrible example. I was so hyper competitive, and my pastor had to come out to me and tell me to stop it. So, talking about having a good reputation of gentleness and kindness, and putting up patience, putting up with difficulties, and keeping calm the whole time. Get me on a softball field, at least it used to be. And that was out the door. Because I valued winning over representing Christ, So, but I still prefer to win, I said it's fun to play this game, but it's a lot funner when you win. So, and I coached kids, my kids growing up in baseball, and I tried to set a different example. This is before I have any kids. So my kids that watch this, once again, don't do as Dad did, do as Dad says. And that reputation was one that I damaged in front of these guys. But hopefully I made up for it over some other things, because I did apologize, tell them everybody. But man, that competitive stuff gets in me. So, and I was also a jerk as a kid growing up when I played board games or anything, and it made me mad when I didn't win. So competition's been a part of my blood, and I had to learn with age what's important, what's not important, and winning a pickup game or that kind of thing's not that important, believe it or not. And it's hard for me to believe I'm actually saying that. Well, that's my lesson for today, is recognize that your reputation can be blown just by a moment of losing it and looking bad. My dad did kind of the same thing in a different way. I'll tell you about that later. So when I was back in high school, so it was runs in the family. Well, I'll let you know tomorrow night how my fast continues to go, and maybe I have something else to say. Who knows?